The month we moved out of the house, the flip that became a foreclosure, we put everything in storage and rented a one-bedroom apartment. By every objective measure, that was the worst financial moment of my life. We'd walked away from a house, no equity, no real plan, the ground floor of a very long rebuild, and I slept better than I had in months. Not a little better, deeply, finally better. My body knew something my spreadsheet didn't, and it had been trying to tell me the whole time. I just hadn't learned how to read it. You have an emotional and mental dashboard. It's the real-time readout of your internal state, whether your nervous system is regulated or activated, whether your reserves are full or empty, whether the direction you're moving is aligned with who you're becoming or quietly working against it. Here's the part most people miss. It's not a feeling. It's a system. And like any system, it produces consistent data. Data that's often more accurate than your conscious assessment of how things are going. Why does that matter for your money? Because every decision you make, every habit you try to keep, your whole ability to execute a plan under real-world pressure, all of it runs downstream of your internal state. Two people can look at the same numbers, the same options, the same opportunity. The one whose dashboard is reading chronic stress does not make the same quality decision as the one reading regulated and grounded. The dashboard doesn't change your circumstances. It changes your capacity to respond to them. And capacity over time decides outcomes far more than circumstances do. Underneath the dashboard is the hardware. Your nervous system. It runs in two states. Parasympathetic, rest and digest. Sleep restores you. Thinking is clear. Your emotions match the situation. Your body does its repair work. Sympathetic, fight, flight, or freeze. The threat response. Heart rate up, breathing shallow, digestion and complex thinking take a back seat. The catch. Your nervous system can't tell a physical threat from a financial one. Lying awake at 3 a.m. running mortgage math triggers the exact same response as a near miss on the highway. A hard money conversation with your spouse lights it up like real danger. And chronic financial stress, the kind that doesn't resolve for months or years, keeps that threat response running on a schedule it was never built to sustain. That's what the foreclosure period felt like from the inside. The sleep that came back in that one-bedroom apartment, that was my nervous system finally standing down. Not because things were better, but because the threat had stopped escalating. Your inner state isn't a character flaw. It's a nervous system state. States can be read. States can be shifted. So here's what the dashboard is broadcasting. 5 indicators. Learn to read them and you catch dysregulation early, before it turns into a bad decision. 1. Energy. Not the energy you perform when you walk into a room, the energy you actually have before the caffeine, before the expectations. Low energy that persists no matter how much you sleep is rarely physical. It's your body's honest accounting of what chronic stress is costing you. 2. Emotional tone. Not the peak emotions, the background hum. Constant low-grade irritability means your reserves are low. Anxiety with no specific cause means your system is scanning for threat out of habit. Flatness or numbness means depletion. 3. Thought patterns. Clear, flexible, forward-moving thinking is a regulated state. Circular, catastrophic, rigid thinking is an activated one. Before the foreclosure, I wasn't thinking about solutions. I was looping the same impossible math night after night, generating heat but no light. 4. Behavior patterns. The actions that leak out before you've consciously noticed. Compulsive avoidance of what you know you need to do. Impulsive money decisions made in emotional states, snapping at people you love, reaching for food or screens to manage a feeling instead of processing it. These aren't character indictments, they're messages. 5. Body sensations. The most honest member of the team and the last one most people consult. Tight chest, shallow breath you only notice when you try to take a full one. A clenched jaw, bone-deep fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. Pay attention to the body. It's reporting accurately all the time, whether you're listening or not. Reading the dashboard is half the work. The other half is shifting the state when the reading isn't where it needs to be. 4 methods. 1. Breathing. the fastest intervention you have, and the one people underuse the most. A longer exhale than inhale flips on the parasympathetic system directly. In for 4, out for 6. 2 minutes of that produces a real physiological shift, not a metaphor. That's why I say calm is a competitive advantage. The person who can reset their state in 2 minutes before a hard conversation is operating from a different platform than the person who walks in raw. 2. Movement. A state change, mechanically. A 10-minute walk between a stressful event and the next thing measurably shifts what you carry into it. I run partly for this, a scheduled, built-in reset that processes whatever's piled up. Not because running is magic, because it's consistent and it happens without a decision. 3. Expression. Emotions with no outlet compress, and compressed emotions don't disappear. They accumulate and find worse outlets. Journaling, a voice note with no audience, a trusted conversation, prayer. The form matters less than the function. Move the energy out of storage and into something where it can actually be processed. 4. Reframing. Your nervous system responds to the meaning you assign, not just the facts. This isn't pretending everything's fine. It's asking, is this thought the truth, or is it what my threat response is generating? The reframe that gave me sleep in that apartment wasn't denial. It was the accurate recognition that the bleeding had stopped. Contained damage, however large, is categorically different from damage that's still growing. You're not trying to live in a permanently regulated state. That's not the goal. The goal is to check the dashboard often enough that you catch trouble early. The practice is simple. A 1-minute morning check-in. How am I feeling? What's my energy? What's my body saying? Not to fix it, just to start the day with an honest reading instead of on autopilot. A brief end-of-day reflection. What shifted? Where did it read high? What would tomorrow benefit from? And then the hard part, actually taking the reading seriously when it's telling you something. Not performing fine when the body's reporting otherwise. Your inner world has been sending signals this whole time. The foreclosure sleep was one of mine, arriving at the worst financial moment of my life to tell me something true about what had actually changed. The dashboard works. It's been working the whole time. You just have to learn to look at it. Next Monday, the skill stack, how to audit what you're actually capable of, find what the market truly values, and build the capabilities that create real leverage in your financial life. If this hit home, the free first chapter and the companion workbook are at the unrestrictedlife.com/chapter. I'll see you next week.